Assalamualaikum everyone. How are you all? Hope you are happy today. So today I want to share the meaning of prayer and why Muslims perform prayer. Why prayer is very important in Islam, and prayer is the second rukn of Islam, and it's very important pillar of Islam. It's the second pillar of Islam. So let's start. Before starting, and that I must say that always remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only one, and there is no God except Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we all have to remember, we all have to worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. So let's start. The prayer. The prayer is English word, and in Urdu, in Turkish, in Kurdish, we use namaz, and in Arabic, we use salah. We can see in Holy Quran, salah is mentioned 67 times, and the word namaz is derived from Persian language, and all the Persian, Turkish, and Kurdish, and Urdu people and Indian peoples, they use word namaz. So the meaning of namaz is very beautiful. It's mean that to bow, to prostrate for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remember, to surrender yourself, to submit yourself to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to submit yourselves for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. When Muslims perform prayer, they forget everything around them. And it's a duty of all Muslims that when they perform prayer, they have to forget everything around them, and they have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only, because this time they talks with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is a duty of all the Muslims. They have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only when they perform prayer, while they perform prayer, because prayer is the only way which connect people, which connect Muslim with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So prayer is a best way to connect Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and prayer is a shield. Prayer is a shield which restrain yourself, which prevent yourself from bad habits, from negative habits. In Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, verily, verily, prayer is a way which prevent you from negative habits, bad habits, and unjust deeds. If you want to save yourself from bad habits and unjust deeds, so you have to perform prayer 5 times in a day. And Allah says in Quran, verily, prayer is a way which prevent a moment from negative deeds, from negative bad habits and unjust deeds. It's the best way to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and it's clear spiritual connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a second pillar and most important pillar of Islam. And if you want to earn success in your life and on the day of judgment, if you want to earn success in present life and on the day of judgment, so you will have to perform prayer 5 times in a day. You will observe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will solve all your problem, all the problem of your life, if you perform prayer regularly. If you want to build your house in Jannah, so you have to perform 5 times in a day, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala build your house in Jannah. Because namaz, salah, prayer is a key of success. So you will be successful in the present one, in the present world, and on the day of judgment. If you want to be successful, so you have to perform prayer 5 times in a day. And prayer also reduces your anxiety, depression, stress. If you want to treat from depression, so you have to perform 5 times in a day, because only through prayer you can remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very beautiful way to remember, to talk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you want to talk Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you want to talk with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if you want to share something with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you have to perform prayer 5 times in a day. Further, I want to say, namaz is the only way, salah is the only way which connect low class and high class people with each other. Namaz shows equality. When they perform prayer, when they perform salah in masjid, so all the men join their feet and they stand shoulder to shoulder with each other. In this way, there is no difference between low class and high class. All the people are equal in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And namaz is the only way which makes you humble and polite. Namaz is the only way which improve your body health, which improve your mental health. If you want to improve your body and mental health, so you have to perform prayer. if you want to make your life peaceful, so you have to perform prayer. So further I want to say that namaz is the only way this saves you from hellfire, and it's make your muscles, especially your back, core and legs, healthy. When Muslim perform 5 times in a day, when Muslim perform namaz, when Muslim perform prayer 5 times in a day, they can easily feel it's just like a yoga, it's just like exercise. It makes your bodies healthy. So it's also reduce anxiety, depression from your life. It's make your body healthy, and it's also give your soul peace, and you will feel peace when you perform the prayer before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So all the Muslims have to perform prayer, all the Muslims have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and all the Muslims have to perform prayer 5 times in a day. It's a very beautiful way to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a very beautiful way to link up with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is all the time listening us, observing us and watching us. So we have to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we all have to worship for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only. And I hope all the listeners will perform prayer 5 times in a day, and it's our duty to convey this message to everyone, to every Muslim. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.